Steam Next Fest is back, and we have over 2,000 demos to check out this week. And in an attempt to narrow that list down just a bit, I have picked out 25 of these demos that I think are worth checking out. And in an attempt to get through them as quick as I can, let's start with number 1. Every Day We Fight. Caught in a time loop, your band of resistance fighters is humanity's last hope. This is a little bit real-time exploration and a little bit turn-based tactics, almost like a scrappy XCOM, if you want to put it that way, by Signal Space Lab and published by Hooded Horse. It's not exactly like XCOM, but there's some differences in there, but at its heart, scrappy XCOM. Up next, we have Moonlighter 2, The Endless Vault. You are both a adventurer diving into the dungeons, hacking, slashing, collecting loot, killing bosses, all that good stuff. But when you're done there, you head back to town, you go to your shop, you sell your loot. Make some cash, get yourself some new gear, and head back into the dungeons. By Digital Sun and published by 11-Bit Studios, it's the sequel to the original Moonlighter. Also, those of you that have played the original Moonlighter may notice it looks a lot different. It's not top-down square dungeons. It's much prettier now. Up next is Let Them Trade. This feels like a board game, but you're building a network of cities, and really the emphasis on this one is trade. Obviously, hence the name. Each town has its own special resource. That resource will trade amongst themselves. You don't want anyone getting too powerful because then they get monopolies. You got to kind of balance that as the king. And eventually you get a nice, lively, and thriving kingdom. This is by Space Flower and published by Byte Rockers Games. Up next, we have Death Howl. Death Howl is a Souls-like deck builder is what they're calling it. It's turn-based tactics, but it's much heavier on it's a much more puzzly turn-based tactics, especially with the deck building in there. It's a very dark story. You're playing a grieving mother. You're trying to defy death and bring your son back. It's by the Outer Zone and published by 11-Bit Studios. It looks amazing, but it's here on Next Fest. Up next, we got Red Sea Rogue. We're pirates. Roguelike strategy game that puts you in the shoes of a pirate captain and their crew. You manage a vessel, head out into the archipelago in this kind of a little bit FTL, a little bit turn-based tactics, and a little bit deck builder as well by Fire Mage Studios. Up next, we've got Inkshade. Inkshade's turn-based tactics, but you're playing this wooden board game against some creature that's sitting behind there. The hook on this one by Studio Vizel is every game ends differently. Maybe you're trying to conquer a continent, maybe you're trying to get an airship, maybe you're sailing into cursed skies, but either way, every game plays out differently in this sort of board game turn-based tactical mash-up. Next up, we have Critias Empire. This is turn-based 4X strategy-like, not strategy-like, 4X-like strategy, that's the word. Building a peaceful kingdom of Atlantis into a flourishing civilization is your goal. However, the gods have other ideas, and floods and earthquakes and volcanoes and all kinds of terrible things are going to be coming down. And the game ends up being Try to Survive Against Angry Gods by Crystalline Green Limited. Up next, we have After Ink Revival. Can you rebuild civilization after a zombie apocalypse? This is from the creators of Plague Inc. And this time we are building it's a city builder, but also a little bit 4X. You're building settlements, harvesting resources, and trying to shape society as you're trying to get humanity out of the darkness by Endemic Creations. Stario Haven Tower is up next. This is a vertical city builder by Stargate Games and Paleo. Each level has like a specialty, and as you're building your tower up higher and higher, of course, new things are going to be coming in trying to hit you. Plus, you have to deal with getting resources up higher and down, and also sent back down lower as you're building this narrow vertical city builder. Primordial Empire is up next. This is a side-on colony sim of the microscopic level. You're down underneath the waves, and you're cultivating a colony of microbes and plants and animals from tiny, microscopic size up into not microscopic, but by Feisty Cyst and published by Slug Disco. The Necromancer's Tale is up next. This is a story-rich Gothic RPG. So, you're a Necromancer. What do you do? Well, you raise an undead army to march against your enemies, of course, by psychic software. There's a big story element here where you are progressing through some secrecy and diplomacy and blackmail and all that good stuff, but there's also a heavy dose of turn-based tactical in here as you march your skeleton zombie whatever army across the townsfolk. SinTopia is up next. You're going into the business of resurrection. Not only are you dealing with the top folk, building with their city up and managing all of that, you're also in charge of hell. And in a tongue-in-cheek style by Pyrrhonites Games and Team 17, we're building hell. We are managing all the souls that are coming down into hell and trying to get the most out of them before you send them back up top so that they can do it all over again. It's a nice blend of both sides of the top and the bottom and trying to manage that together. Up next, we have Realms of Madness. We're building a medieval fantasy castle, the side-scrolling strategy game, real-time strategy game by Robin van der Host. This is here on Next Fest, and as you build your town up and your kingdom up, you're going to march your creatures across the map into your opponent who's over on the other side of the map in this RTS, not tower defense, but RTS-style side-scrolling colony builder. Life Below is another underwater city-building game. This one's a little more coral reef-focused. You're dealing with collapsing ecosystems and trying to grow your city, your coral city, amidst all that by Megapop and published by Casado Games. This one, it takes all the hallmarks of a city builder and just forms it into coral bits, and you end up creating a coral city. Explorers of Esmar is up next. This one's not hiding it. It is clearly inspired by Settlers. Build your settlements, master complex production chains, and claim the riches to explore and conquer the new island continent of Esmar by Tipri Games. Echoes of the Architects is up next. It's a fast-paced, real-time strategy game where creativity drives victory. What that means is you are creating your vehicles, your tanks, your mortars, whatever you've got out there. You are programming them, you're building them, and auto-battler style, once you get it all programmed and set up, your army marches out in kind of an RTS style, but with less control other than behind the scenes as you build and program these vehicles. It's got PvP, multiplayer, and it is here on Steam Next Fest by GFX47. Town to City, you're building an idyllic 19th century Mediterranean town. So if you're like me and you've played a lot of city builders and you're tired of straight lines and grids, this might be the one for you. This is by Galaxy Grove and published by Quayle. There is not a line or grid in sight. It is very much an open sandbox city builder. In the end, you'll end up making a nice, cozy, bustling community. Your families come in, you assign your families to the house. They may request different things at their house, but it's very much a sandbox, cozy city builder. All Will Fall, the physics-based survival city builder, is up next. And that's what there is to say about it. It is a physics-based survival city builder. The world is flooded, and you are trying to survive out here in the ocean with your towery monstrosity of a city. But as floods and storms and hurricanes, whatever comes in, things may start falling apart in this physics-based city builder. But slowly over time, the waters will lower and rise and lower and rise, and you have to combat that, find new stuff, scavenge new resources, and keep on building your colony up. This is by All Parts Connected and published by TinyBuild. Up next is IceTwine, an Ice Age city builder, where you combine raw materials to craft tools. If you are familiar with Stacklands, then this is very much Stacklands, just with a different interface. You're grabbing your peons and slapping them onto wood and stone and whatever resources you have to kind of craft and try to find what works to build a village. And eventually you end up with a village farming mammoths and dodos and creating weapons and trying to survive the whatever other Ice Age people are out there by afternoon games. Craftlings is up next. Craftlings are as diligent as they are hapless. This is by Ariano Games and published by Raw Fury. If anyone remembers Lemmings from a very, very, very long time ago, if you take Lemmings and you turn it into a city builder, that's what you got. This is clearly a settlement builder, but in that Lemming style where you've got these lemmings roaming across the map and you're trying to manage their lemmingness to build a city. Build something productive, prevent them from plunging off the nearest cliff in their attempt to build their settlement. Up next is Little Rocket Lab. This is a, well, you know what? It's a blending. It's Stardew Valley meets Factorio. You start out in this, you come back home, things are terrible, and you take your hammer and your wrench, and you start crafting up a rocket. You and your ants are going to smash this thing together, and in this production chain factory game, you will turn out to start making rockets and put the town back on the map, I guess is the idea. It's by teenage astronauts and published by No More Robots. Up next is Stone's Keeper 2 Chaos Lord. You're set in a fantasy world here. You are recruiting armies and arming them and turn-based tactical style sending them out into the world. But you also get like a flying castle, a flying fortress to go cruise across the map. This is, of course, the sequel to Stone's Keeper 1 that came out a few years back by Sky Team and published by Valkyrie Initiative. Fleetbreakers is up next. This is a blend of strategy and fast-paced combat. Building your fleets. It's all about building your fleet and managing that squadron. You'll have multiple squadrons eventually, but you are trying to fight back against the Voltari in these sequence of RTS battles, essentially. You play it over a map, almost like a board game style map, and each hex is its own RTS style battle in space by Last Keep. Almost there. We've got Resonant Blade is up next. This is a sci-fi action adventure where sound is your weapon. You've got a shattered world, dark synths in this sort of Terminator style, cyberpunk Terminator kind of setting here by Wise Wombat Games. Sound is your weapon in that your sword as you swing has different like settings, basically, and depending on what you're fighting in this action RPG style, are weaker to certain sounds than other. Each of them have their own weakness, and so you're trying to match that weakness with what you're fighting against. And in this Metroidvania, they're calling it. I'd say more action RPG, Souls-like. Raiders of Blackveil is up next. The evil corporation's out there, and you're building yourself a rebellion. In this, it's single player, but it's also multiplayer. Up to 3 players can play this. And you're picking like a MOBA-like champion. Each of them have a few different abilities that they can do, and you set out on a bunch of missions, head back to your airship, build your base up, and then get back to fighting the rebellion or whatever, or I guess being the rebellion, by Wumbo Games. And finally, we have Eriksholm, The Stolen Dream. This is an isometric, narrative-driven stealth game set in a 1900s Scandinavia. It's all about your brother is missing, find your brother, but also, on the other side, you're also in this sort of stealth RPG style of game in this incredible-looking fantasy Scandinavia. And that's it. There is like 1% of the demos that are out there this next fest. I hope they get you a good start. They're free. Go try them out. If you find some that I have not listed, I'm sure there's some really good ones out there that I have missed. Please put them in the comments because I want to see them, and I'll hunt them down. I will play these. All these I have played or I will play soon, and I'll have links to my videos if you want to see those as well. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.